Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here at last with Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Oklahoma, where the waving weed can sure smell sweet, where the wind comes right behind the rain. I'm not singing the rest. Don't worry. Oh, this has been something that was like all people who love American music theater have been waiting for with bated breath, because this is complete, note complete, the whole musical score, which is nearly 2 hours. And when you consider that you'd have like dialogue and stuff, that would make it rather long. I mean, it's a full-fledged musical comedy drama thing. And it's an important release because Oklahoma, which came out in 1943, marked a landmark. Marked a landmark? Well, it represented a landmark in American musical theater, because rather than being simply a vaudeville, a collection of songs loosely strung together by a somewhat rote plot line, this actually has a story. I mean, it's a lightweight story because it's a comedy, but it's a story, and it's tied together with music and with characters who are more fleshed out than usual. I mean, there's a real coherent drama going on here. The drama is, of course, a love triangle, and it's a question of, who's going to take who to the dance. It's not like the kind of thing you're going to lose sleep over, but you have some really serious characters here, particularly the purported bad guy, Judd Fry. That's his name, isn't it? Yes, it's Judd Fry, who is emotionally tormented and violent, and who, at the very end, in a somewhat bizarre deus ex machina, shows up at Laurie's wedding to Curly and provokes a fight and pulls out a knife, and after Curly hits him, falls on his own knife and dies at the wedding, after which Curly is immediately acquitted because he was fighting in self-defense or something like that. I mean, it's a little bit, kind of odd to have a musical at the end where someone gets stabbed to death, but it's a happy ending because they all sort of just kind of like Salome and Naraboth or whatever his name was. He stabs himself, he falls in, she just like walks over the body. It's like, yeah, who cares? It's sort of like that, only perhaps not quite as direct, but it doesn't matter. The point is the story is compelling. And what really is remarkable is that such a theatrical revolution in American musical theater was produced by a show that has such freshness and innocence and ease. I mean, you would never know that anything unusual was going on in musical theater when Oklahoma came out in 1943, but it was a big deal. And it made subsequent musicals that were more philosophically challenging possible. Afterwards, you really couldn't do musicals that were about nothing in particular except a string of hit tunes. Not that there's anything wrong with a string of hit tunes, of course. We like our hit tunes. So Oklahoma was one of the landmarks. Showboat was another. There were a few that were showing the potential of this otherwise lightweight or popular medium. Lightweight is one of those terms that I really kind of don't like, because what matters is not how light the music is. What matters is how good it is. And good light music is not an easy thing to do well. And the performance here is just smashing, absolutely smashing. You have John Wilson and his Sinfonia of London and a bunch of singers and players, the Oklahoma Ensemble, recreating Robert Russell Bennett's original orchestrations. I mean, completely original orchestrations, which sound marvelous, especially the violins playing with a hellacious amount of vibrato. Oh my God. But it's really fun. And, it does have that tang of authenticity, which would mean nothing were the performance not superb, but the performance is absolutely superb. I mean, wonderful. Who's the cast? Let's see. As Curly, it's a huge cast. I mean, you've got like dozens of characters, but you've got, let's see, Curly is Nathaniel Hackmann, who's absolutely terrific. Laurie is Sierra Boggess. Judd Fry is Rodney Earl Clarke. Will Parker is Jamie Parker. Well, that's handy. Adu Annie is Louise Dearman. Aunt Ellie is Sandra Marvin. And Ali Hakim is Nadim Naaman. And, there's like lots of other people. We don't have to go through the whole list. Here's the point that matters. First of all, they all do well with their Ersatz approximation of a Southern vernacular accent, which, no one knows what that really sounded like, and it really doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. I'm not going to get bitchy about it, and neither should anybody else. But more to the point, every word is crystal clear. They really communicate. Oh my goodness, it's just marvelous. And the deeper numbers, like, Lonely Thing and whatever it's called here. Wait a minute. I never remember titles and words. I remember tunes. But you don't want me to sing the tunes, do you? No, you don't. And I don't blame you. I really, really don't blame you. So yes, Lonely Room, the judge sings. Oh, it's so moving and wonderful. The opening, Oh, What a Beautiful Morning. It's a waltz. And it floats. It just floats with such freshness and joy and optimism. It's marvelous the way it's done here. The music moves things along. And what's really cool about having the complete score on hand, frankly, is that you can hear how there are larger structures worked into these things, the way things are reprised. I mean, the whole first big giant scene is framed by Oh, What a Beautiful Morning and the Surrey song about going to the dance in the Surrey with the lace on top. And you hear these things, they come back. And, normally in a soundtrack recording or an original cast recording, you only get one of the songs, maybe a reprise or two. But you don't see how they fit into the musical organism, which is the complete scene. And the piece is really nicely structured to move the action along, but also to have like actual musical substance. And you'd never think that. You wouldn't. But it's really great. And the funny numbers, like, Judd Fry is dead. It's hilariously funny. It's very, very well done. There's a lot of wit built into the music. The tunes, of course, are terrific. And that original orchestration is sharp and peppy, and it doesn't sog up the piece with over sentimentality. And John Wilson deserves a tremendous amount of credit for this, I have to say, because I've been hard on him for some things. He's made some marvelous recordings, especially his English string music discs and some other things of more serious, classical music, and also some very uninteresting ones of, blockbuster stuff, which he doesn't seem to have much affinity for. It is no crime to say that you are marvelous at conducting music theater, film scores, and other such things. Because first of all, we need these more than we need another Respighi Pines of Rome. We need these much more desperately. And second of all, if you're great at one thing, you're great. That's all it is. I mean, I often said, it would be just wonderful to be great at just one thing and be proud of it. And so I urge John Wilson to continue doing this stuff, more of these things, because he's fulfilling a genuine musical need, and he's doing it with class and with flair and just about as well as it can be done. The sonics from Chandos are stunning. I think it's fabulous that they've decided to take on this challenge and that they've done it with complete success. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I couldn't be happier, and you will be too. So grab it. Oklahoma. Yeah. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.